I feel so Canadian right now. Like I'm just like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? You want your president?
Who's the president of Canada right now?
Well, we have
Prime Minister. Or what do they call him over there?
Prime Minister? It's a prime minister.
Is it Paul Martin?
No. You know what? I don't even know the name of the prime minister right now.
What?
Get the fuck out of here, dude. Come on. You're Canadian.
And how do you feel? And how do you feel Canadian?
What do you mean?
How do you feel Canadian? Then you're like, I feel so Canadian right now. How can
I'm saying.
How can a Canadian make the comment, I feel Canadian, and not know who his leader is?
Caught, bitch. Caught. You're like, oh, you guys. You've all been judgmental. Like, that's sick, pulling out ahead.
No, it's not. No, it's not Paul Martin. If you give me a minute, I'm really overtired.
What, a minute to go over to the computer and fucking type it in?
No. Could you imagine, like, maybe short of my daughter, you ask any American who's the president of the United States, they'll be able to tell you. Whether they agree with his politics or not, they'll be able to tell you his name.
Why do you think it is that you can't remember?
It makes me I'm really overtired, and essentially, I mean, politics...
Oh my God, dude! If they had just fucking freed me from a death camp, and I was starving, and I weighed fucking 80 pounds, I was all bones and shit, and I was fucking, I'd been beaten and fucking like I thought I was gonna die every day. And their first question was, "Who's the president of the United States?" I was like, "Is it still 2007?" And they're like, "Yes." I'd be like, "It's George W. Bush." That was a showstopper to me, sir. That boggled my mind. As much as you were sitting there looking at me perplexed when I was talking about pulling fucking Hitler's head or Osama bin Laden's head out of a bag, that is bizarre. That you're just like, I'm not real sure who the PM is. And it's not even like you just came from Toronto 2 days ago.
No, I have no...
so obviously you don't
I've
vote.
slept. What?
You don't vote?
No, I do. I vote in local politics. I do vote in local politics, but I don't. I mean, Kyle Ray is our local. Where I live. He's kind of the local
He's the
member.
mayor?
No, he's the local member of parliament.
Huh.
So I do know the local politics, but I mean, I guess on a broader scale. I mean, if you had asked me like maybe a few days ago, I might have known. I know the tired thing isn't going to work, but it's just like I've slept 4 hours in the past 3 days. So
that's such bullshit, dude.
That
is so like fucking
44 hours.
And also, like, even if you've been up 44 hours, you're starting to lose details.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm real hazy. Like Malcolm, what gender are you? Give me a minute, because let me reach in my pants. I haven't slept in 3 days. I'm not quite sure.
You get caught in a brain fart because you're like, you don't want to say, oh, yes, it's that guy, and then you fucking totally... But then in that process, what?
Malcolm, a brain fart is like, who is that dude that sat next to me in social studies? Or who taught civics, my junior year? That's a brain fart.
Who's the leader of the country I live
in? You're all over the place in this one, man. You're like, I've seen a rod. Well... Did I ever? No, it wasn't a rod. It was a UFO.
I never did say I saw a rod. I saw a UFO. I never once the words came out, I saw a rod. It was, I saw a UFO.
Has there ever been a female prime minister?
No.
No?
No, Kim Campbell. Kim Campbell. There was a female prime minister, Kim Campbell.
When was that?
That would have been in the 90s. She wasn't prime minister for very long.
Why not?
She was a woman. Nah, hey.
Oh my God, dude. Oh my God, Canada, and you've offended the entire country of Canada as well as women everywhere.
That was a joke. I said that with a big smile on my face, knowing exactly what I was saying.
They can't see the smile on SModcast, sir. For all they know, and based on the bullshit you've been slinging, they're like, this guy is a fucking ignorant hate tank. Do you think any Canadian listening to this gives you shit about that? Like serious, angry, like, what the fuck? Like, kind of patriotic, like, you're un-Canadian? Or do they just, like, razz you like, you fucking dumbass, how do you not know who the PM is?
I mean, I think that it's more of a stupid dope thing than actually a kind of a political thing. I hope, anyway. I don't know, man. That was, brain farts, man. Although I can't even say it's a brain fart, right? It's just ignorance, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, in America, if somebody doesn't know who the president is, you just think they're a mental fucking.
But it does say a lot. I mean, in Canada, like the prime minister isn't on TV all the time. It isn't really. It's really different, especially with Paul Martin, if that is his name. No, I mean he's not. I mean the only time you see Paul Martin is when he's kissing Bono's ass, like about that whole. Like that's basically the time that our prime minister will make the news.
And I am pretty sure that Paul Martin is still not the prime minister.
No, he absolutely is 1,000% the prime minister.
I kind of remember that they didn't make the joke anymore about Paul Martin.
No, well,
what? So you're based. You know Paul Martin, or you know the name Paul Martin? Why?
Because there is a Devils defenseman called Paul Martin on the team, and they would always make the joke, not the prime minister, but the player. And I remember they stopped making the joke because Paul Martin wasn't the prime minister no more.
Could I vindicate myself by saying I'll cut off my little finger right now if it's not Paul Martin? I'm so sure that it's Paul Martin.
On a fucking camera, though.
Really? No, I'm so sure. I'm so sure that it's Paul Martin that I would cut off my finger. And I honestly don't know why. My mind didn't think about it.
I remember them talking about it during the Devils telecast who the new prime minister was, and it wasn't Paul Martin.
It is Paul Martin, though.
Okay. I mean, I'm just saying I don't think it is, but you're Canadian, you know.
No, well, no, obviously I didn't know, but it absolutely is Paul Martin.
Kevin is Googling the Canadian prime minister right now.
Do you have a knife on you? The Prime Minister of Canada is Stephen Harper, sir.
I fucking quit. I quit.
He was elected just in 2007, right?
2006, probably.
2006. I remember them talking about it on the Devils broadcast that they couldn't make that lame joke anymore.
You literally just hit the floor. You are the king of just fucking, I'm going to throw my balls out there and make the most insane statement. I'm so cocksure I will cut off an appendage if the PM is not Paul Martin. Who? Stephen Hart. Oh, my God. Oh, Jesus, don't make me cut my little finger off. It's my jerk-off finger.
It's my thing. I tried to vindicate myself by fucking, and I can't, I'm astounded. But the thing about it is I can honestly say that, God.
But you seemed so sure after a certain point. You're like, it is Paul Martin. It's Paul Martin. It is. You talked yourself into believing that Paul Martin was the...
It's the equivalent of somebody maintaining that Clinton is still the president.
No, I'm serious. He took us to war. Clinton, he said that we're going to get Osama bin Laden. It's Clinton. It's Clinton. It's Bush. Oh, geez, that's right. It's Bush. I'm sorry.
The thing about it is because Paul Martin's, I remembered him from the G8, which just, happened very, very recently. It was last year. And I guess while I've been in the States, for the past little while, we've elected a new prime minister, and his name is Stephen Harper. And
unless he was elected, Friday night when you arrived, it is inexcusable that you didn't know the name of your PM, sir.
Well, I haven't been in Canada all that much, to be honest. To be fair, I really, in the past 6 months, in the past year and a half, I haven't been in Canada all that much.
Okay, so I go overseas to do a tour of duty in London for something. I'm still keeping up with who the president of the country is. Even if I'm not voting in the elections, I'm like, who's president? Right on, good to know. Because I'm from America.
But, ultimately, I'm going to get killed for this, not by you guys, but ultimately, Canadian policy, American policy affects us a lot more than Canadian policy. Although Stephen Hart,
I agree, sir. That's why Walter and I don't know the PM of Canada is Stephen Harper, and that's why it's okay that we don't know. You're from Canada, dude.
One thing I do know about Stephen Harper, I do remember now, is that we just had the big AIDS summit in Toronto, and Stephen Harper wouldn't come out and address. He said he was too busy to come out. Bill Clinton was there. Bill Gates was there. It was a very big AIDS summit, and Stephen Harper claimed that he was too busy to actually come and show up for it. So it's fucking insane that I'm so stupid that I couldn't remember his name. When he does have some influence on things that are important.
Why you got to bring SModcast down? You know, like we were having a good time, razzing you, blasting your nuts about not knowing
That was
fucking
a calculated move.
Oh, it really was.
Get you off his nuts.
Totally. You're not as dumb as the guy you were
bring
10
the
minutes
AIDS in
ago, the
here.
dude who didn't know the PM was like, how do I dig myself out of this hole? Oh, I'm going to introduce the human Holocaust. Well, because of AIDS, a lot of people die, and perhaps we shouldn't be laughing at simple things like me not knowing who the PM is, because AIDS is a much bigger issue. I just think it's funny how you're like, look, okay, not knowing who the PM is pretty bad, but what he did is an egregious error that is unforgivable. It's just, he's the bad guy here. I shouldn't have to know his name. He's a fucking hate tank. He hates people with AIDS, so band together, let's all not know his name together.